Hello and welcome to 10x Your Launches can't even speak to get started. A free 3-day training
Recording in progress.
to really help you grow your business, really look at how you want to be able to get more people into your launches, get more people into your offers, into your products, and into your services, and really look at how you can have launches that you actually really enjoy, have launches that actually grow your business, and have launches where you're actually getting more people into the work that you know is so worthy of more people being in there. Over the next 3 days, I'm going to deliver a free training every single day. Today is a day all about mindset. Tomorrow we have a day all about money, which is going to be all sales and pricing. And day 3 on Wednesday is all about marketing. So it's going to be the launch strategy, the framework, what to actually do. But generally, when I think about all of the launches that I've done, and especially I think those that were the most mind-blowing, it really is a blend of all of these things. So that's why we're going to start with a mindset conversation today. Now, if you're here with me live, a huge welcome. I would love it if you could pop in the chat if you are a new person in my world or whether this is absolutely not your first rodeo. I know there's many faces that I recognize in here, which is amazing. But if you're a first timer, perhaps let us know. It's always good to kind of see where we're at with things. So, for those of you that are new into this space, I'm Tara. I'm a business and mindset coach, and I really love helping my clients build businesses that they really love, but also really look at how they can grow their business in the best way possible. I want people like you to do incredible work, and I want you to really thrive behind the scenes as well. I want you to have a thriving life, a thriving business, thriving sales, thriving clients, and thriving results. So that's what I really want to bring forwards over the next 3 days is how you can really, really do this. Now, first things first, I love to do a bit of a competition and I love to be able to give back when I do free events like this. And if you were with me in 31 to Thriving, which was so incredible, it feels like a lifetime ago, you will recognize the champagne bucket. And what I love to do when I'm doing these free experiences is to give you the opportunity to win something incredible. And today you have an opportunity to win a £500 voucher that you can spend on a whole bunch of different things. I'll give you a whole list of things that you can kind of put that towards. But all you have to do if you want to have your name put in the champagne bucket of joy is just share something on Instagram, on your Instagram story, and just tag me. So just tag me that you're here, that we're getting involved in the 10x Your launches. If you want a graphic to share, there's a graphic on my Instagram as well. You can just screenshot that and you could share that if you wanted to. So that's what you've got to do. And then tomorrow morning, I will be picking a winner out who is going to win that first prize. So we're getting started today talking about mindset. But I didn't always believe in mindset. So I'm going to give you a bit of context and a bit of a story. I actually started my business back in 2015. I started out working as a journalist and social media manager. And I was very much just finding my own way. I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't really know how to grow a business. I didn't really know how to sell. I didn't know how to market myself. I didn't know how to create offers, pricing, packages. I didn't know how to do any of it. I was very much figuring it out along the way. And I remember getting to about 2018, and my business had been growing quite nicely. I invested in my first coach a year prior in 2017, and she really helped me look at my pricing, my packages, how I positioned my brand, messaging, marketing, all of these things. And it got to this point in the summer of 2018 when I was getting quite hungry. I was really starting to love the work that I was doing, and I wanted to be able to create more income and more impact. And I remember saying to my then coach at the time that I wanted to work towards this £10,000 month. And I was like, it was like this big pivotal thing. I was like, that's what I want to do. I was getting to this point of like building consistent months, like things were going well, but I wanted to get to that next level. And I remember at the time she recommended that I speak to her coach. And I kind of thought, well, can't you help me do it? Like, I quite like you. Can't you just help me do it? She said, I think you need to speak to my coach. So I spoke to this woman who was actually in LA. And I remember just signing up for this 12-month mastermind. It was £1,000 a month. It was fucking terrifying to invest that much money in my business. Like I didn't really have enough of a buffer to do it, but I thought I'll say yes and I'll figure it out. And I remember signing up for that mastermind. And I remember being on the first call. And I sat there so nervous. I don't know why my laptop's having a small moment. I sat there feeling so nervous. I just felt like I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what question to ask. I thought everybody else on the call was going to think, that I wasn't knowing what I was doing. Was I good enough to be there? I had so many fears. And I remember sitting there very quietly. And then the coach said, "Who's got a question? Who wants to come up with a question?" And I was like, "No, I don't. I don't have a question. I don't know what to ask," because I was so worried that I was going to ask the wrong question. And I just remember that she did this like little mini training, and then we were all doing these questions. And then she suddenly started talking about mindset. And I just remember thinking, what has this got to do with growing a business? What has this got to do with making more money? What has this got to do with helping me hit my goals? What has this got to do with me growing my income and creating more impact? And I was really resistant to it at first. Now, she actually encouraged that we do a morning routine. And again, I just thought this is a whole load of rubbish. Like, I'm busy. I don't have time for this. I live on a farm in the Cotswolds. Like, who am I to do a morning routine? And I was so resistant and so hesitant to it. And she actually told me to just get over myself and just do it. And I remember thinking, bloody hell, just drop this woman 12 grand and she's just telling me to get over myself. I was like, that's a bit fucking rude, isn't it? But it was actually the tough love that I really needed. Now, I remember just doing this mindset stuff to just tick the box. I was like, I'm just going to do it, and then I can tell her I've done it, and then she's off my back. But I couldn't really get behind it. I didn't really believe in it. I didn't really feel like it was really going to help me. So I was just doing it to tick the box, just so I could say that I had done it. If we then fast forward to March 2019, I'm invited to LA on this retreat with this woman. And I felt like the biggest imposter ever going there. I remember being sat in this $6 million mansion up in Beverly Hills, just thinking like, who am I to be here? At this point, I was doing a lot of PR, I was doing a lot of marketing. I had started coaching in 2017. It's been coaching for about 2 years. I just didn't feel worthy of being in that space. I didn't feel like I belonged. I didn't feel good enough to be there because I didn't have this big successful business. I didn't have lots of clients. I hadn't yet hit these goals. I hadn't yet hit these milestones. And I was like, oh my God, I feel like such an imposter for being in that space. One of my friends looked at me and she said, "But Tara, who are you not to be here?" And it was like the permission slip that I needed. Now, I remember being on the plane on the way home. We had this 5-day retreat. It was incredible. And I was on the plane on the way home. And I had this realization that whole week had been about mindset. Like every single day, we had guest talks from some of the most incredibly well-known, talented, successful entrepreneurs, and they were all talking about mindset. And I just remember being sat on the plane on the way home thinking, oh God, I think there must really be something in this, mustn't there? Like it just keeps coming up. All of these super successful people, they have an understanding about mindset, they're doing mindset work. So I was sat on the plane on the way home on my own, and I thought, right, I'm going to look into this. Now, I've got a very strong love of science. Like, I love understanding how things are the way they are, why they are the way we are. And I thought, if I can make it make sense in my mind, maybe I could get behind it. So I got back, I bought loads of books, and I started really researching our minds. And I started researching our mindset, the setting of our mind. And I was blown away. Suddenly, everything made sense. Suddenly, our whole belief system made sense. Suddenly, I could see why we are wired the way that we are. Suddenly, I could see where our self-belief comes from or where our lack of confidence comes from. Suddenly, I could see all of these things. And it was in the April of 2019 that I really started to grasp mindset work. And I carried on doing these things that I'd been doing for 7 months. I'd been doing this morning routine for 7 months and nothing had changed. I didn't feel any different. I didn't suddenly think that I was, going to hit all these goals. Nothing changed. When I then got back from LA and I understood the science in the April 2019, the following month, I hit the goal I've been working towards for 8 months. That was my first £10,000 plus month. And it happened a month after understanding our mind, a month after suddenly continuing to do this morning routine that I'd been doing for 7 months, but suddenly I knew how it worked. Suddenly I knew why it worked. So there's one piece of science that I really love to share because I really love to help people understand the science of our minds. I'm not just going to sit here and be like, oh, just do your gratitudes and then you'll be good and you'll hit all of your goals. I want to help you understand the science behind it because I know for me that that really, really worked. So we each have a very unique mindset. This is literally the setting of your mind. And your whole mindset was generally set when you were less than 7 years old. So when you were less than 7 years old, you were going about your life, you were doing the things that less than 7-year-olds do, you were playing with your toys, you were oblivious really to what lay ahead. But in that time, your mind acts like a sponge and it just absorbs. And it just absorbs anything that you put it in. It absorbs anything it hears. It absorbs anything that, it picks up in its environment. Now, it doesn't know whether those things are good or bad, right or wrong. It just absorbs. And what it then does is it actually then creates subconscious beliefs based on what it has absorbed. So let's say, as an example, this is one that comes up quite a lot with my clients. Let's say that you heard your parents were arguing about money when you were younger. Let's say you were 5 and your parents were arguing about money. Your mind would have been absorbing this. It would have been listening to this. It would have been knowing that they were arguing about money, despite not really knowing what money was. What then happens is your mind creates a subconscious belief based on whatever it's absorbed. So let's say it's absorbed, your parents are arguing about money. The subconscious belief that it forms could be something like money is bad, because money creates arguments. Money created arguments, which created an uncomfortable situation when you were younger. Maybe you heard money doesn't grow on trees. And again, it was just such a little sentence that you heard, but your mind then subconsciously formed beliefs about what that meant. So your mind then suddenly thinks, oh, well, I can't have what I want in life, or money's hard to come by. So all of these beliefs are being completely subconsciously formed when you were less than 7. Now, the reason for that is because the brain waves were in a really receptive space. You had no analytical function in your brain. Your brain didn't know good from bad, right from wrong. It just absorbed. It just let anything and everything in. And it then believed everything. So there was no filter at that point. It just believed everything that was going on in it, and it just kept absorbing more and more things going in. The piece of science that shook me to my core back in April 2019 was the fact that in your first waking hour, your mind is in the exact same space. Your brain waves in your first waking hour are in the exact same state that they were in when you were less than 7, no matter how old you are now. So that first waking hour of your every single day is almost like your gold dust time. It literally is the time where anything that you put into your brain can turn to gold. Because in that first waking hour, your brain doesn't have the analytical facility. It doesn't have that analytical filter. It just absorbs and it believes what you put into it. So if you're wanting to rewire your brain, if you're literally wanting to change your belief system and change your mindset, your first waking hour is like the best time to do it. That's when you are going to be able to create results quickly, because the rewiring of your mind can happen quicker when you're working with the brain waves. So in that first waking hour, your brain waves are in the theta brainwave state, which basically means they aren't analytical. They don't know how to work out whether something's right or wrong. They just absorb. They just listen. It just lets in. It's like the floodgates are completely open. And it just lets in whatever thoughts you're having, whatever you're putting into it. And then it believes it. So that first waking hour can literally be our superpower hour. It can literally be the moment where you look at where your mind currently is and you decide how you want it to be. So for me, that was a massive learning. That was when I kind of thought, okay, there's really something in this mindset work, there's really something in this morning routine work. And I was really able to get behind mindset work. Now, since then, I have been on a whole massive journey of my own mindset journey, but also within my own business, in terms of really looking at how we can make our minds work for us. And I want to kind of talk to you about it today in terms of the lens of launching. So, actually, really looking at how your mind can help you when it comes to launching your offers and making more money in your business. Now, self-belief is one of the most important things, I think, when it comes to your success of launching. When I think about the launches that I have done, where I have very simply 10x my result, it has been when my mindset is in a really strong place. It's been when that self-belief is so strong. It's been when there hasn't really been any doubt in my mind at all. I've literally been fueled by like passion, optimism, and self-belief. So when you're listening to this, I want you to actually have a little think about how you would rate your self-belief at the moment. Do you feel that actually it's pretty strong, or do you feel that actually at the moment it's wavering a little bit? And there's no right or wrong answer with this. But I want you to really be able to sit with this for yourself and actually recognize whether this is the key area that you want to work on. So have a little think about how you would rate that at the moment. Now, a lot of people actually get self-belief a bit caught up. They actually get it a little bit wrong because they'll sit here and they'll say to me, well, I believe in myself when things are going well. I believe in myself when I've got sales. I believe in myself when I've got clients, when I've got inquiries. I believe in myself when things are working. I believe in myself when I've got money in the bank. That's not self-belief. That's circumstantial belief. Self-belief is that the belief that you have is in yourself. It's not in the external circumstances. It's not in the things happening outside of you. It's in yourself. So when you think about that, I want you to, again, really be able to sit with this and just think about whether you actually have self-belief or whether you actually have circumstantial belief. Because anyone can believe in themselves when they've got the evidence. It's really easy to believe in yourself when you've got the sales, when the clients are signing up, when you've got all of the things popping off, when your Stripe account's amazing, when you're blowing your own mind. It's easy to believe in yourself. But being in this crazy journey of entrepreneurship, you won't always have all of the circumstances behind the scenes. Your greatest superpower will be your self-belief. Because if you can have self-belief, even when you don't yet have the circumstances happening outside of you, like the sky isn't even the limit. The world literally is your oyster. But you have to be willing to dig deep and give yourself that self-belief, even when you don't yet have the results. So when I think about this for my own journey, there have been times that I've had to create self-belief to then launch something. I remember the first time that I launched my first group coaching program, which was back in 2019. I didn't have self-belief around a group coaching program because I hadn't yet done it. I hadn't ever launched a group coaching program before. I've been doing one-to-one coaching at that point for like 2.5 years. I became known for this one-to-one program that I did. It got great results. I went from charging like £75 for the first session I ever did to 2.5 grand for a one-to-one little program over that 2.5 year period. I had no self-belief around a group coaching program. I had no self-belief around launching a group coaching program. I had to create it. It wasn't just suddenly sat there. I had to create it. And what that looked like for me was really looking at the results that I got with my clients, really looking at what I included in my coaching, really looking at what coaching really brought in the incredible clients, brought in the incredible results, brought in the incredible growth. So when I was able to actually sit logically and look at that, I was able to then put this new group coaching program together, and I could almost borrow the self-belief because I knew, okay, I'm known for coaching these topics. So at the time, it was very marketing focused. I used to do a lot around all of the social media content. I used to do a lot around blogging, SEO, building your brand. So I knew that I had self-belief in coaching those topics. So I was then able to get myself into a place of self-belief for that specific launch. Now, here's the thing. Your mind loves evidence. It loves evidence. And sometimes that can be a really good thing, and sometimes it can be a little bit detrimental. So, what your mind does, when you decide that you have a thought, let's say you have a thought that you want to launch a new offer and you haven't launched an offer like this before, your mind has two thoughts that it can go to. So let's say firstly, you're like, okay, I want to launch this new offer. In about a microsecond, you have a duality of thought. So what that means is one thought is going to be like, hell yes, let's go. The other thought is like, oh, but what if I don't? So let's say you have a thought and you're like, okay, I want to launch a brand new offer. One side of your brain is going to be saying, okay, this is going to be amazing. I've got this. This is going to be great. I'm really excited about this. I'm going to give it my all. The other side of your brain is then going to say, but what if you put it out there and nobody buys? What if somebody says, who are you to do that? What if it doesn't work? What if you put your heart and your soul into it and you don't sign any clients? What if only one person signs up? So you literally have a duality of thoughts going on from just deciding, oh, I want to launch this group coaching program. Now, this is why this is really important. What then happens is your mind goes off into its little memory bank and it finds memories to back up whatever thought you had. So let's say you're like, oh, I want to launch this new program, I'm going to launch this new offer. And the thoughts that then follow are like, this is going to be great. I'm so exciting. I'm in my zone of genius. I've got this. I've got self-belief. Like, we're going to be good. I'm going to make it happen. Your mind goes off into its little memory bank and it finds other little moments of evidence to back up why this is going to be a great thing. And it'll say, do you remember that time last year where you tried something and you hadn't done it before and it went really well? And do you remember that other time when something else happened and it went so well, like you absolutely smashed it? Do you remember that time? And do you remember that other time before when you left your job and you followed your heart with your business? Do you remember how good that was? And it literally gives you evidence in alignment with your thoughts. On the flip side, let's say you have that thought and you're like, okay, I'm going to launch this new thing. And then the thoughts that then follow are, oh God, I don't know if it's the right time. Who am I to do this? I don't know if I can do it. Are people buying? What if nobody buys? Then your subconscious mind goes into its memory bank and it finds memories to back that up. And it'll say, well, do you remember actually this time last year when you launched something nobody bought? And do you remember the disappointment you felt when you tried something once and it didn't work out? And do you remember how, you wanted to do something once and you didn't get any interest and then you felt like a failure? And it literally gives you all of those memories. Now, this is so important because what then follows is obviously the action that you're going to take in your business. If you let your thoughts go to the negative side, I don't know if I can do this, what if nobody buys? Then your brain then gives you those memories to back it up, to almost strengthen those negative thoughts. You then try and take action whilst fighting your own brain, whilst fighting your own energy and emotions in your body. It's going to be really hard to create that positive outcome because what is fueling the action is negatives, our worry, our lack, our fear, our disappointment. All because your mind, in that 1 second when you thought, I really want to launch a new offer, your mind had two choices. And generally, it's a lot easier for your mind to go with a negative thought than a positive thought. Your mind is literally wired for safety. It is wired in a way to keep you safe. It's wired in a way to keep you alive. That's the subconscious mind's primary job. Yet sometimes it gets that little bit tangled. And when you're wanting to, let's say, launch the new offer, it will feel really uncomfortable to your mind. And your mind confuses this feeling of stepping out of your comfort zone, of, stepping out of the imposter syndrome, of just doing the thing anyway, with, oh my gosh, there's a lack of safety. Danger, danger, like there's a threat to your life. It's like, no, we're just wanting to launch the thing. We're just wanting to put this new offer out to the world. But your mind can very quickly go from, well, this is terrifying to do this new thing. And what if you try it? And what if nothing works? And what if somebody on the internet hates you? And what if Karen from school sees it? What's she going to think? And what if it all goes completely wrong and you end up homeless on a bench? You're like, okay, thanks. Thanks, mind, for that rather dramatic story. But your mind is just trying to keep you safe. So we have to get really comfortable with discomfort. The more comfortable we can get with discomfort, the further you're going to go. I promise you, there have been so many times when I have been so uncomfortable in my own journey with my pricing, with launching, with my sales, with so many things, because this has been such a continual journey. But when I first launched that first group coaching program back in 2019, I didn't have evidence that it was going to work. So in that moment, when I decided I'm going to launch my first group coaching program, I had to say to my mind, we've got this, I'm going to make it work. I had to say to my mind, I'm going to do all I can to make sure that this launch works. I had to be willing to mindset coach myself at that time. I had to be willing to choose self-belief because I didn't have evidence that it could work. So I had to create the evidence. I had to create the self-belief. I had to give myself the evidence of why I was the one to create this group coaching program. Now, 5 people signed up for that, and one of them is still a client today. It's a really funny story about that, actually. She literally messaged me one day on Instagram. And do you want to know the one thing that made her reach out and message me? Was the fact that I put an Instagram story picture on of my washing that was hanging on the line. And I'm a little bit OCD and had matching pegs on the items. So a jumper would have 2 pink pegs. A towel might have 2 yellow pegs. And the pegs had to match. And it was just the most random story that I put on one summer's afternoon. And she reached out to me. She was like, I thought I was the only one that did that. And I was like, no, I do it too. But here's the thing. She then signed up for that group coaching program and is still a client today. But it was the most random thing that made her reach out. But she had been silently following for years. She had seen all of the posts. She'd watched all the stories. She hadn't liked a single thing, hadn't commented on anything. I barely saw her watching my Instagram stories. She was one of those silent followers. And I think that's such an important reminder. We will all have them. You will have them. You will have those people that are just waiting for that random post that you put on. They're just waiting for the one thing that builds that connection. So those 5 incredible people signed up for that group coaching program. I then relaunched it in January 2020. And this is truly one of my favorite stories. I relaunched this program and I got a bit complacent. And I thought, well, because, I had 5 people last time, surely I'll get 5 or more next time. And I was very complacent. Complacency is never a good thing. And one person signed up for that group coaching program on the second launch. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm going to have to tell this woman. So I basically messaged her and I said, Hayley, this is the situation. You sign up for this group coaching program. You are the only person. So I'm going to give you one-to-one coaching at the group coaching price. She was over the moon. Like, she was so happy. She thought she'd won the lottery. And then I had 2 very important options in that moment. I could either judge the success of that launch / failure of the launch, or I could learn from it. And I looked at what I could learn from it. I said to myself, what did I do well? What can I improve on next time? That changed my life. Because it could have been so easy for me to just look at that launch, call it a failure, and just, throw the towel in. There's so many people, many of you sitting on this call, that have signed up since then. That actually, if I had pulled the plug because, that one launch didn't go to plan, your lives wouldn't have been changed. So in that moment, I said to myself, how can I make sure that this launch next time is incredible? In every single situation, you can either win in that you get the desired result or the outcome and you get the people signing up, or you learn from it. That failed launch, I mean, I don't believe in the word failure, but that failed launch that didn't go to plan taught me so much. It taught me more than a 12K investment that I'd made in my business, to be quite honest with you. It taught me so much because I was able to look at what I had done well, and then I was able to look for next time and think, right, next time, how do I really make sure that this works? And we're going to go through all of those strategic things on Wednesday because there were so many things that I hadn't done properly in this January 2020 launch because I was being so complacent. So I looked at it from a mindset perspective, and instead of beating myself up, instead of letting my mind create that story that I'm a failure, I'm a fraud, I teach people how to make money and I can't even get more than one person in a group program, instead of letting my mind go there, I sat there and I said, right, how am I going to make sure this is epic next time? June 2020 comes around, launched the exact same program. And I can never remember whether it was 10 people signed up for that one or 20, but basically I did two launches close together. One had 10 in, one had 20 in. But that was literally off the back of those learnings from the group coaching launch where one person signed up. Now, here's why this is really important. When I then launched this group coaching program in the June of that year, my mind had evidence that could have held me back. If you think about it, my mind had the evidence that, well, last time only one person signed up, and it kept trying to want to give me that evidence over and over and over and over again. And I mindset coached myself every single day. Every time I recognized that little thought coming into my mind of, oh, well, last time only one signed up, I was like, nope, I let it go. Cancel, cancel, cancel. I stopped the thought in its tracks. I'm like, no, that is not becoming my reality. I'm not letting that thought come into my mind. Because what happens with each thought that we have, your mind then goes into its little memory bank and gets evidence to back it up. So if I kept letting that thought be my story, be my reality, my mind's going to keep going in and getting evidence and getting memories and be like, oh yeah, remember in January, remember how you felt? And I'm like, oh God, no, not again. So I had to make sure that I was so in control of my thoughts. I had to make sure that the inner dialogue going on in my brain throughout that launch was, this is going to be amazing. It's going to blow my mind. I've got this. This work is incredible. This work changes people's lives. I'm going to do all that I can. I'm going to make sure that I'm being really intentional, really strategic. I've got the right mindset. I've got the right actions. Let's fucking go. And I had to keep giving myself that story over and over and over again. Now, here's the thing with your mind. There will be little days where a little bit of self-doubt creeps in. There even are today. So I've been doing mindset work since October 2018, and even to this day, there's still little moments where a little bit of self-doubt creeps in. But here's the crucial thing. It's not my dominant thought. It's not the dominant thing that goes on in my mind. It kind of creeps in and then I push it back out again. It tries to weave its way in, and I'm like, no, 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 not today. I'm not having this. And I push it out again. And again, I get myself back into self-belief. And I remind myself of this. I don't have to have 100% self-belief all day, every single day. But the dominance of the time, I've got more self-belief than self-doubt. And I always love to say to my clients, if you can have 51% self-belief to 49%, how the hell am I going to make this happen? That's okay. That's still a positive. That's still the dominant one is the positive one. The dominant vibe, the dominant energy is the one that we want. So you don't have to have 100% self-belief in order to move forwards. You don't have to have 100% self-belief to launch something. I just wish for you and hope that you have that little bit more self-belief than self-doubt. Now, I also then want you to actually really think about those times when you have more self-belief than others, because we've spoken about the importance of actually separating self-belief from circumstantial belief. Circumstantial belief is when the things are going right, then you believe in yourself. I want you to have self-belief, but I also want you to then know what helps you build the self-belief versus what takes you out of self-belief. So for me, I know that I do my morning routine every single day, and I'm always getting myself into this place of I am the one, I'm incredible at what I do. I know that the work that I do helps people change their life. I get myself into that every single day. I'm also constantly flooding my mind with like positive things. I've got a folder in the gallery of my phone that's like all of the nice client testimonials, case studies, client wins, client messages, messages from people that have read my book or listened to the podcast. I've got this whole folder of things. So any time that my self-belief drops just a little bit, I'm like, right, brain, we love evidence. My brain loves evidence. I'm going to fucking give it some evidence. And I go into that folder and I remind myself in that moment, this is what people say. These are the results people get. I give myself the evidence. Your mind loves evidence. It will, at a second's notice, go into its little memory bank and just give you evidence from anything. Give it evidence. Play your mind at its own game. We've already said about how, your mind will have that thought and then it goes into its memory bank to back it up. You can also make this work for you. Like, if we were to sit here and I was to say something like, I want you to repeat after me. I am incredible at what I do. Let's say you repeated that and you said it with so much conviction, your brain's then going to think, right, let's go into the evidence, let's go into the memory bank and find evidence to back this up. Your brain would literally do that if you said it with enough certainty and enough conviction. I am incredible at what I do. Like, I want you to try that and actually say it with so much confidence and so much conviction and be like, yes, I am the one. This is great. I'm great at what I do. And actually give yourself so much evidence of it. And then your brain goes into its memory bank and it's like, oh, yeah. Do you remember that client who absolutely loves you and comes back every year? Do you remember that client that's been a client for years and years and years and years? Do you remember X, Y, and Z? Yes, Emma says, I have that. She's got a document called My Social Proof with all my testimonials. I love that. Like, it is one of the greatest and easiest ways for you to give your brain evidence. But the way your mind is wired is 95% of it is stuck in the past, and 95% of it is rooted in negativity, because that's how it has kept us safe and kept us alive for all of this time. It's like if you have 100 happy clients. Let's say you've got 100 clients, they love you, they think that your work is incredible. They're like, yep, she's the best photographer, she's the best coach. They love you, they love your work. Like, they are your ride or dies, they always buy, they always come back. And then you have one person who doesn't like you, one person who wants a refund, one person who wasn't happy, one person who didn't get the results. Your brain will find it so much easier to hyper focus on the one that didn't get results than the 100 good ones. Because your brains are wired in that way. It's called the negativity bias. They are just wired to focus on the negative things. So again, that's where we know that our mind is wired in this way. Your role is to actually make sure that you are giving it the positivity, you're giving it the self-belief, you're helping it step more into the self-belief. Because the more belief you can have in yourself, the better your launches are going to go. Because here's the thing, and I think so many people miss this, that every single launch that you do, every single action you take towards that launch starts in here. doesn't it? If you think about what you want to put in the program, what you want to put in the offer, you think about the price, you think about the name, you think about what's included, you think about who you want in there. It all starts in your mind. And if your mind is a negative place to start with, no amount of planning is going to get you the result that you want. We have to clean up what's going on in your mind. I want your mind to be a space of like self-belief, being your biggest fan, having your back, blowing your own mind. I want your mind to be like, I am so good at what I do. Now, I've got one of my clients is a photographer and she's incredible. And I remember having this conversation with her years ago. And she gets incredible results, like absolutely incredible results. Her prices have gone up so much over the years, and she's just gorgeous. I love her. And I remember she shared with me a really nice testimonial that she had. And I said, "Oh my God, that's incredible. Share it." She was like, "Well, I don't want to brag. Like, I don't want to be bragging by sharing this testimonial." And I'm like, "You're not bragging when it's a fact. You're just sharing a beautiful thing that someone has said about you on social media." It's not bragging. It's not like, oh, I'm better than you. It's none of that. It's just really being able to sit with that and own it. How often has somebody given you a compliment and you almost brush it off? I caught one of my friends out. Met for a glass of champagne in Tetbury a couple of weeks ago, and she had this gorgeous wool coat on. I was like, "Oh my God, I love your coat. It's gorgeous." She's like, "Oh, I just got it in a charity shop." And right there, I was like, take that back. I don't care where you got it. Just say thank you. Because our minds find it so hard to just accept a compliment, to just accept a win, to just accept growth, because we just brush it all away. So your mind loves a bit of evidence. Play it at its own game. Recognize that sometimes that little self-doubt, that little niggle is going to creep in, but just be really mindful that you are getting your mind into the best place possible every single day. Because when your mind is in this really strong place, it's so much easier then for you to be able to create the content, map out the launch, go into the launch, go into the sales process. But if your mind is this place of fear, worry, anxiety, lack, not good enough, not feeling worthy, then when you put that energy into the actions in your launch, you are most likely going to get a result that aligns to the energy that went in. So if you're in worry and lack and nothing's enough, and then you go into this action, you are much more likely to get a result that makes you feel more worry, anxiety, and lack. Whereas if you can get your mind into this place of gratitude, of optimism, of enthusiasm, of 51% self-belief to 49% fear, you are in a stronger energy. You're in a stronger mindset and frequency to then go into the actions. Your mindset is the most important part of a launch. Because when your mind is in that place of, let's say, gratitude and optimism, those are the two that I would say I get my mind into every single day. It's like gratitude for where I'm at, optimism for what's to come. When I get myself into those and then I show up on social media or I write a post for Instagram or I go onto my stories, I'm in such a much better energy. I'm in this like positive energy. That's when it's like everything you touch turns to gold because you're in that energy, you're in that mindset, you're in that vibe. That's when things are going to work. But if you are in this negative energy, this negative mindset of, let's say, anxiety and worry, and then you're trying to do the post on social media, the energy will just be off. Honestly, my first 6 months of this year, nothing that I did worked because my mindset behind the scenes was in such a bad place. My mental health was ruined. I just was not in a good place in myself. So nothing that I was doing was working. And it's crazy. Now I look back at my videos from that time and it's almost like you can just see it in my eyes. There was just no passion, there was no belief, there was just none of this was there. And as soon as I got my mindset back into a really good place again, it's like everything I touch turns to gold. But when your mindset is in a really strong place, it is so much easier for the actions to work. But your mindset has to be in that positive place. Even if it's not always 100% positive, if you can have that 51% self belief to 49% doubt, 51% confidence to 49%, I don't know how, that's enough. But that's what fuels a successful launch. If you are wanting to 10x your launches, this is going to be a mindset game. Because when you've got that strong mindset, everything around the launch and the lead up to the launch, the content that you do between your launches, it's all going to get taken up a notch. There will be a direct correlation between your level of mindset and your level of launch. So I want you to be able to really think about this. In this moment, I want us to decide to let go of those things that are holding us back, to let go of the things that are not going to help you get to where you desire, to let go of the worries, the thoughts, the fears. Just let go of them. Because when you think about what is required to 10x your launches, fear of failure won't be there, fear of success won't be there, imposter syndrome won't be there. You will be fueled by realizing that you are the one, realizing what your zone of genius is, by realizing why you are the one for your people, by having that level of self belief. When I launch a new offer, when I launch a new service, I don't always have evidence that this new thing is going to work because I innovate things all the time. I'm always launching new offers and I love that. But I have to then be able to give myself the evidence. You know, the first time I launched that group program, I didn't have evidence of group coaching in my past. The first time I put my prices up, I remember when I started coaching in 2017 and got to a point that I was charging £75 for a power hour and honestly putting about 10 hours into it. And I just remember thinking, this isn't making sense. Like, I need to put the price up. And I didn't have evidence of putting my prices up. In fact, I actually had negative evidence in that when I was a manager in hospitality some years prior, I asked for a pay rise and was told no. So when I then went to put my prices up in my business, I had to really make sure that I was giving myself the evidence by saying to myself, look at these incredible client results. Look at what people are making. Look at the money they're making after one session. I had to create that evidence. So you won't always have positive evidence, and sometimes you will have negative evidence. But if you can make sure that you are giving yourself the positive evidence as to why you are the one, that's the most important thing you can do. So between now and our session tomorrow, and we're going to do our money session tomorrow, I want you to really sit with this and ask yourself what your self-belief level is, not circumstantial belief, what your actual self-belief is. Feel free to share anything that's coming up in the Facebook group. Feel free to share anything if you kind of had a realization and you're like, line in the sand moment, you're going to let go of those things that have been holding you back from a kind of mindset perspective. And then when we go into our session tomorrow, it's going to be very much focused around pricing and around sales. But again, we had to have this mindset conversation for all of that to work. But truthfully, you may have heard the statistic before that 80% of your success is down to your mindset and only 20% is strategy or skill. And I absolutely, hand on my heart, believe that because I've tested both. I've tested launches when my mindset hasn't been in the right place, and I've tested launches when it has. And when I think about doubling my launches, 5xing, 10xing my launches, it has been when my mindset is in this incredible empowered place. When I know who I am, when I know what I stand for, when I know what I'm known for, when I know how incredible the results are that I can help my clients get, when I'm there, it's like everything you touch turns to gold. So feel free to let me know if there's any questions coming up in the chat just before we wrap up. We've got a couple of minutes. And then tomorrow, like I said, we're going to be talking all about sales, all about pricing. Again, this is very much a mindset conversation. And then Wednesday is going to be super strategic. So would anybody like to unmute themselves, share anything, share any comments, questions, anything at all before we wrap up today? No? Yes, definitely.
Hi, I'll just say hello. Good morning. It's nice to see everybody. I'm actually in the U.S. Virgin Islands, so it's just 8:20 in the morning here. So I am a professional organizer turned lifestyle organizer. So I am basically diving into the coaching world and figuring out how I can uh, streamline the business side to personal life because we're making money in our business and all of a sudden our personal life starts to become chaos. So I'm basically peeling back all the layers and trying to help people become organized in those areas. But I myself am a little scattered, so here I am to learn more and um, move forward. So thank you for having us. It's really nice to see y'all and meet y'all.
Oh, my pleasure. It's been so nice. Yeah, it's just so nice kind of having people from all over the world. I love that. So do you have a question about kind of launching, or is there anything specific that you would like to ask?
So, I guess not a specific question, but the problem that I'm finding now is, as I said, I'm kind of transitioning from doing like in-home organization to more of a virtual like lifestyle organization. Um, so I haven't launched anything. So I basically am starting from ground zero. And the thing is not everybody knows that. They don't know that I haven't done one-to-one coaching or group coaching. So I think I'm trying to alleviate the stress, the imposter syndrome of going into that first launch, so not a specific question, but I'm looking on guidance on how do I get my foot in the door to do it for the first time.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant question. I will just start by saying, oh, I don't know where I got. I'm just going to put you on mute because I don't know why I was repeating myself. Imposter syndrome is always going to be present. Always. Fear and imposter syndrome are always there. They live rent free in your mind. And generally, when they come up, it is proof that you are stepping out of your comfort zone, which is a really good thing. So, one of the greatest things I think that we can do is feel the fear, feel the imposter syndrome, and still take the action. Because when you feel the imposter syndrome and you still take action, you are going to get a positive result. But so often people recognize the imposter syndrome, or they recognize the fears there and they almost say, okay, well, I can't do it, so I pull the plug. You know, that imposter syndrome, it obviously means something, so I'm just not going to do it. So keep feeling it, keep taking the action despite it. I would personally recommend starting with one-to-one coaching over group coaching, just because then you can really start to get to grips with your framework or with your method or with how you do things. You can get a number of clients through and then just start to get a feel for who it is gets the best results, what sort of personality types you want to work with. And I think it's just a lot easier then to almost become known for that one-to-one to then be able to launch a group at a later date. But I think tomorrow's session and Wednesday's session as well, you'll just get so many little pointers and so much clarity around your kind of first session launch.
Can I just say one more really quick thing? It's so funny because I think for the past 6 months, I've been focusing on trying to do the group coaching, and it just recently, in the past week or two, where I was like, no, I just need one person, one client that I can get. So it's funny you say to focus on that because I very much have transitioned my mindset into going in that direction because then I can hone in and really figure out exactly what it is that I want to do and then introduce it to other people as I grow and explore and learn the things that you were just saying. So thank you for that. That
You're
helps.
very welcome. And actually, I think so. When I think about my journey, so like I said, I was coaching one-to-one for 2.5 years before bringing in group. When I then came to launch my first group, I knew exactly what the things were that people had got really good results with. And I knew the things that were important to share as like a marketing coach versus the things that actually weren't so important or weren't really going to move the needle in their business. But if I didn't have those years of one-to-one coaching behind me, I wouldn't have known what to include in the group. So it's actually through going through that and actually really seeing, what were the common things that came up? What sort of were the common business owners that I helped? What were the common questions, the common wins, the common things that kind of held people back? Then it was much easier to create the group. But I think, yeah, just focus on just getting those one-to-one clients in. You can almost then make it so bespoke and you'll start to get your feel for the sort of person you like working with and the sort of approach that you want to go through, whether you want to work with people in the corporate world or business owners or both. And you'll just start to get a feel for that. But I think one of the greatest ways for figuring that out is actually through like the lived experience of it. Excited for you. Love that. Okay, Emma, I see that you have your hand raised. Lovely. Feel free to unmute yourself.
Hello, good morning. I sadly am at an event tomorrow, so I won't be able to watch one. Will it be recorded? Is my first question. If- yeah, perfect. Thought it would be. The second one is I've got my first launch tonight, which is really exciting. Yay! So I last week I ran two like mini AI trainings where basically what we're doing is most of my clients are overwhelmed with their social media. They don't know always what to post, so they get paralyzed and they either create content, do it perfectly, and then do nothing for another month. So what I've done is I've created custom GPTs that basically take their client voice, their ideal client, and their the thing that makes their brand or their business them, and it will then create a content for them. So tonight is the masterclass where I'm launching that. So really just some tips on because it's my first time launching. I've tried to be active. I've been doing outreach, personal outreach, because it's only a tiny group. I think I've only had 45 people sign up to do the freebies. So it feels manageable, which is really nice. But just any tips if you've got that would be super helpful.
Yeah, of course. So is it the free masterclass tonight, and then at the end of it, you're opening up the paid program?
It's just a launch basically. It's a membership, really low
Okay.
cost membership, so it's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
So yeah, but that's basically what's happening.
love it. So I would go into it with, I know that this is going to be amazing. I know that this is really going to help people. You are so clear, like when you talked to me about it just then, like you're so clear in terms of how it's going to help people, where they're struggling with. So I think definitely when you're kind of doing the sale, absolutely speak to that. Just say, you either post and you're all in your power and then you don't post for ages, or you
Post and ghost, I call it.
yeah, you don't know enough. So definitely speak to that. Your energy will be really, really key. So a lot of people, when they do like a free masterclass and then sell something at the end of it, they're all like, energy's up here, like, yeah, this is great, high vibe. And then as soon as they come to sell the actual program or to say the price, their whole energy shrinks. And then they're like, and the investment is £49 a month. And their whole energy has shrunk. So I want your energy to be big and expansive and bold throughout the whole thing. Um,
Okay, yeah,
I also love to have like a special bonus. So when I launched my membership 2 years ago now, for people that signed up in the first, I think it was 24 or 48 hours, I actually gave
yeah,
them a bonus. What did I do? I think for mine, I did two bonus group coaching calls because I actually launched it around this time 2 years ago, but it wasn't starting until January. So I then did two bonus coaching calls in December. So that was almost like the genuine urgency piece. You could say that the first five people to sign up get like a complimentary one-to-one with you. Um, you could say that the first five people to sign up get a complimentary workshop day, just something that is generally like a higher ticket thing. So I think
yeah.
sometimes when people do a bonus, they then do it for something that's like much less of value. I love to do bonuses that are like one-to-one or high level things because I think it just feels more special.
I
So
love that. Yeah,
definitely do that. And then make sure that you've got then, I think, over however long the bonus phase is. So let's say you do sign up in the next 48 hours and you get these bonuses, be really consistent with like the emails or with messaging around like that time phase. So you've almost got like 48 hours to go quite hard on it.
yeah. Okay. And in terms of content, it's hilarious. I can do content for everybody else. I can't always do it for myself. Just sort of talking about the pain points
Yeah.
for because I'm
So
gonna have
I
the cart open for a week. It'll be open tonight and it'll shut next Monday. So it'll be 7 days. So 48 hours like bonuses. I love that.
yeah.
But in just in terms of what I'm going to be posting in the next week.
Yeah, so I think I would definitely do a post that speaks to pain points. Definitely do a post that speaks to their desires as well. I would do a post that talks about your past few months and how you've been speaking here, there, and everywhere, because that's
Yeah,
something that positions you as an authority. So it really aligns the fact that you've been flown to like Glasgow to speak on stage about AI, that's really positioning you in a high level way. I'd create a case study. So if you've got a case study of somebody that you've helped do this, one of your own clients, even if it's a one-to-one client, it doesn't matter that you're promoting the membership. Again, it's still aligned to AI. Um, I would do something almost like something about a trend for 2026 and actually how, AI is going to be like the trend, like it's the thing. When I
Yeah.
think about my business and I think about um, my way. So my way is very much blending mindset and strategy. Like I think that is the best way on the planet to make money. Like I will swear that to my grave. Like if I had to stand up in a courthouse and fight for that, I could do that because I'm like, this is the best way. Your way, it has to be like, okay, well, you need to be bringing AI into your business. I want you to see that as like the only way. Like there's no other way to do it. Like that is the way and get that embodied in it, that obsessed about your way because
Yeah.
then that's really going to like repel people and attract the right people to you. Um, and then I think I would do a post that's then pinned. I'd probably do this sooner rather than later so you can pin it for the whole week of the launch about the membership, why this, why should they join it, why now? Why should they join it now? I would definitely say that the price point should go up after this first launch. So
Yeah, I've already got that. So they're going to come in on a founding rate,
yeah,
which is
perfect.
only 19.99. So I tried to make it a no-brainer. And then once I've got that, then the next time I launch, which will be February, then it will be at a higher price because it allows me to bed them in and mold they'll come as beta testers basically, because I
Yeah,
can then work with them to get it even better and
yeah.
bring more things in. So that's my sort of theory.
How sassy are you feeling?
Yeah, it relatively.
I would be inclined to do a post that says, this is basically free, but don't let that mean that it's not going to be good value.
Yeah,
Like, it literally is basically free, but it's not going to be just because it's so affordable that it's going to be shit. So I
yeah,
would literally create that post. It's like, it's basically free, but don't be fooled. Like, it's not going to be low value. This is really going to help you, and here's how.
yeah.
This,
Okay.
this is really going to help you so that you can. What is that so you can sentence? And think about it from an emotional perspective as well. People buy with emotion, not just logic.
Yeah, okay. Oh, love that. Thank you. That's given me some really good things. I'm making notes because I know I forget.
It is insane
Brilliant. Thank you.
value.
Really appreciate that.
You're very welcome, lovely. It is insane value. Like it really, really is. But again, just in the back of your mind, think, right, what are the things, what are the reasons why someone won't invest in this? I don't think it's going to be money, but is it that they, I don't know anything about AI? So then you create
You're
content saying, have you
welcome.
been on the fence about my membership, but you're worried because you know nothing about AI? Well, when you join by next Monday, you get this welcome call that brings you up to speed. Just something
Yeah.
that speaks to that thing.
So a lot of my customers, they know how to use ChatGPT, but they only know how to use the tip of the iceberg. They're
Yeah,
not using it. They've just self-learned,
yeah,
like Google. We got a tiny box in Google. We put our question. They do the same with ChatGPT. You put generic rubbish in, you get generic rubbish out. So that's why I train to go like 10 levels deeper because then we get much better results.
yeah.
So okay, yeah, that's a good point. I'll make a post about that as well.
I would also do a post that says, you've had a play with ChatGPT, it's helped you create some content, but, and then what is the but? But you want it to work better for you, but you want it to do all of your social media in your voice, and you want, whatever else it is that they want. If you relate to that, then you need to be in my new membership. It's just 19.99 a month. This is perfect for you if you have a core understanding of ChatGPT, you've used it a little bit, had a play with it, and actually you're ready to take it to the next level and really help you in business.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. Love that. Great ideas. Thank you. It is easy, isn't it, to see it for other people. I just
Yeah,
sometimes struggle to see because I have so many ideas in my head. I'm like, what can I share now? Because a lot of them are overwhelmed with AI or they're fearful of AI. And it's true. AI is amazing, but it also is can be awful. So it's just, human in the loop so important. But yeah, thank you.
yeah, you're
Appreciate it.
welcome. Jocelyn's put a comment in the chat as well about might be interesting to see how you use ChatGPT to uncover their pain points, like behind the scenes.
Okay, yeah, cool. That's a good idea. Thank you. That's
Amazing.
really helpful.
You're very welcome, lovely. Well, this is perfect timing in alignment with your launch then, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, yes. In fact, I could have done with that a week ago, but that's fine.
Well, by the end of Wednesday, you'll have so many other things to be doing and like make sure that
Exactly.
the next, like the following 5 days after that, that you've got, yeah, so many ideas. Thank you,
Yeah.
Albie. You've given me so many ideas. We've barely got started. I love this. Okay, any other questions or anything before we wrap up today? No? Amazing. Well, thank you for being here. If you're live, thank you very much. If you're catching the replay, thank you for catching the replay. I will see you same time tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. UK time, for day two, all about sales, all about pricing, all about money. And I'm really excited to build on this conversation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will see you somewhere on the internet, and I'll see you hopefully live tomorrow morning. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.